Welcome back to Jimmy Rants. This is the debut episode here on YouTube. We're going to start streaming live the Jimmy Rant show. And if you're brand new to Jimmy Rants, here's how it works. We have a website, jimmyrants.com. And once you go there, you find out that we start this show. It used to be on Instagram Live, but we're going to start doing it here on YouTube Live. So if you're not following my YouTube channel, definitely hop on over to youtube.com/livinlowcarbman, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live in the content right here on YouTube. Of course, if you missed the live, it is available on YouTube forever and ever, amen, because what happens on YouTube stays on YouTube. So, fun show, guys. If you're brand new to Jimmy Rants, I'm really glad you're here today. JimmyRants.com is the link to how you can access all the information about this show. Today's Jimmy Rants is all this concept of body dysmorphia. So, a lot of times, women especially tend to struggle with this issue. And body dysmorphia is a very real issue, especially for people that had a whole lot of weight on their body and then they lost a whole lot of weight, but their brain is still telling them that they're big. Okay? So, if you think you're fat, even if you're not fat, that's not normal. So, I found an article I wanted to address here today called Phantom Fat When You Still Feel Oversized Even After You Lose Weight. And this is something that hits everybody that has lost a significant amount of weight. It's not just men, not just women, it's men. I can tell you in 2004, when I lost 180 pounds, I ran into this a lot because there were people that were talking to me for the first time. I was invisible at 410 pounds, but then suddenly at 230 pounds, I was very visible. And my brain couldn't wrap my head around, okay, I'm that same person. Why are you suddenly talking to me when you've never talked to me before? And so it was kind of weird. And for a while there, I still had the feelings of fat. So I've definitely dealt with this particular issue. If you're just joining us, yes, I am live here on YouTube. Welcome in. I'm glad you're here. Appreciate all the comments that I'll get to those here in a minute if you're brand new to this concept. So, what we're talking about here today is this whole idea of body dysmorphia. And this concept of body dysmorphia, where you think you're fat when you're really not, could actually make you devalue the great stuff that you're doing in your ketogenic lifestyle. And I don't want anybody to feel like their keto journey or whatever your weight loss and health journey is somehow devalued because of how you feel and think about yourself. And a lot of times people think about themselves in the ugliest of ugly ways. And as someone who used to be extraordinarily obese at 410 pounds in my life, you have coping mechanisms. And part of that is you learn not to really like yourself that much. You learn to think of yourself in ways that nobody would ever actually say to you, but you say it to yourself. And so when you do start to lose weight and it does carry over into your new body, that brain still has all of that training that says you're all of those bad things that you think you are. And unless you've been in that situation where you've been very large, you've been able to lose a lot of weight, and you still have those same mental thoughts, you can't really understand it. And it's difficult for someone that's in our situation that's been through this to explain this to other people, especially in society where they demand you to have perfection in your body and they demand you to basically have your crap in order once you figure out your diet and you start losing weight. Oh, well, you've got those 15 more pounds to go. Oh, yeah, you've lost weight. And so people say things to you, and then it just reinforces this whole thing. So let me read from this article. Body dysmorphic disorder is less about your appearance than it is the anxiety about it. Some people who have lost weight have trouble embracing their new, slimmer shape. They may still perceive themselves as very heavy, even when the reflection in the mirror reveals a much smaller person. This is real, guys. And if you've never been through this before with weight loss, I would think you'd need to lose at least, I don't know, 50 pounds to really understand what this is all about. But it even happens at lower weight loss as well. If somebody needs to lose 25, 30 pounds and they went from, say, 150 to 120, um, yeah, that's a big move. And sometimes that change, people can't wrap their heads around it of what happened to them. But when it goes into the 50, 75, 100, for me, it was 180 pounds. It was such a dramatic change. And the way that people start talking to you and reacting around you, they say all of these things about, oh, you look so good, and they make all these comments, but it just doesn't register. It doesn't. And it's so ingrained on our brain of how we looked for so long that it becomes kind of this mental thing more than anything. And as they're going to talk about in this article here, it really is something that gets to a deep-seated kind of psychological thing that's going on that you got to figure out, and a lot of people do eventually figure it out. Maybe their brain finally catches up to what happened to their body, but there's a lot of people that they never are comfortable with this, and a lot in the keto world. I talk to them, especially women, um, where they say, I've lost weight, I've definitely made my body healthier, I'm better off today than I've ever been in my life, and yet they still struggle with this very issue, which is why I'm addressing it here today on Jimmy Rants. If you're just joining us, do not adjust your screen. I am not on Instagram Live. I am on YouTube Live, and we're starting to do these Jimmy Rants episodes. This is the very first one that we're doing right here on YouTube Live. Instagram ticked me off with some of the changes and some of the glitches that they've had lately, and I'm like, you know what? Screw them. We're going to YouTube Live. So I'm very happy to be here with you guys, and we'll definitely be doing lots and lots of Jimmy Rants episodes right here for you. But let's get back to this story. This phenomena is called phantom fat or phantom fat syndrome. The medical term is called body dysmorphic disorder. And a psychologist in this story who works with surgical weight loss patients says the disorder can involve other aspects of someone's self-image, not just their weight. So get this, you guys. When people have body dysmorphia, they are preoccupied with something about their physical appearance that they perceive as a flaw, even when that flaw is not necessarily observable to others. And I've seen this happen, especially women, but it happens to everybody. But I've seen some women on Instagram, for example, who've lost a lot of weight. They're beautiful, and you can tell that they're not very comfortable in their own skin, and they express things like, oh, my hair is all out of order, or oh, I've got a little something on my eye. And they're pointing out little minutia that if they didn't like point it out, and even after they point it out, you may not even have noticed. But it's because of all of those coping mechanisms that I talked about earlier that people have to deal with that. And they kind of wrap their heads around the idea that changes happen, but they can't fully wrap their heads around that they've radically changed. And this is a real issue, guys. I know it's not directly related to keto, but it's an issue that people that lose weight with keto have to deal with. This preoccupation might include repeatedly checking a mirror, seeking reassurance from other people. So, are you sure? Are you sure this shirt looks good on me? Are you sure? Does my butt look like it's, it happens. or mentally comparing themselves to other people. Oh, well, yeah, I've lost weight, but I still don't look like Susie, and I really wish I could look like Susie. And so they're comparing themselves. An example of this might be a bodybuilder who never sees himself as big enough, so he works out constantly trying to address this perceived flaw in his appearance. Now, they didn't mention this here, but another way that this manifests is those people that step on the scale 10 times a day. And you know who you are. You know who you are because you just don't believe it. And even in the midst of the journey, you'll do that. And it will either motivate you or demotivate you, and your body's in constant flux. You can't really use that as any kind of measure, but people do that all the time, and they feel like they have to do that. I haven't stepped on a scale, for the record, in a long time, years, because it's the lying liar that lies. If you've never heard me say that before, get ready, because on Jimmy Rants, I call the scale the lying liar that lies pretty darn often. And it does. It doesn't tell you the whole picture of what's going on. Plus, by me no longer stepping on the scale, it doesn't mean I've given up on my weight. It means that weight is not my primary focus anymore. And I think that's part of the thing that goes into body dysmorphia too, is they're not looking at all of these beautiful, great things that have happened for the better because they decided to make a change in their diet and their lifestyle, and they're getting the results, but they just don't believe it. And so you kind of fool yourself into thinking that you've not seen the success that you actually have. So we continue in this article. Why would people who have lost weight still perceive themselves as very large or heavy? Good question. Let's find out what they say. While weight can be quantified by stepping on a scale, a person's self-image is much more abstract. Our beliefs, our past experiences, relationships, cultural context, and behavior all play a part in how we think and feel about ourselves. Think about it this way, you guys. So if you've been very large, and I've been over 400 pounds in my life, at one time in my life, and the looks you get, the snide, the comments that people say, we hear it. We hear it. And when it goes in the ear, it goes in the brain. When it goes in the brain, it goes into the back of your mind. And in the back of your mind, all of those things that get tucked away, all of those things that people say, you can't unhear them. They're there. So when you lose weight, you physically make a change. What's happened to the back of the mind? Did you lose weight back there? Nope. You still have all of those echoes of all those comments that were ever made. And if you've been big in your life and you're watching this right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And even to this day, all of those things can still be impacting you, even if you've lost triple digit weight. So let me encourage you today. If that's you, you've lost a ton of weight. Congratulations. Be very proud of how far you've come. But can I just urge you to let that stuff go? It took me a very long time to stop listening to those voices back there. And those voices back there will come and scream at you when you're having a bad day. They will try to discourage you. Yeah, you've lost a little weight, but yeah, you really haven't arrived. You've got a lot more work to do. You really should work on yourself a lot more. You're not quite there yet. So don't try to celebrate that you've done anything. Yeah, that ketogenic diet did pretty good. You lost a little bit of weight. It helped you a little bit, but at the end of the day, you're the same old fat person you've always been. You're just going to gain it all back eventually. So don't even bother. I don't even know why we're even having this conversation. Yep. Yep. That happens. It certainly happens. If some of those areas haven't changed despite the weight loss, a person might still feel the same way about themselves as they did when they were heavier. I can confirm this. And one of the challenges that comes into play with this is when you've lost a significant amount of weight, You start to have the loose skin, especially around the belly. But for some people, they have like under their arm that jiggly skin, or on the inside of their legs, where they had a lot, where they're basically their thighs got really big. So when you lose a lot of weight, that skin just doesn't automatically tighten up. And so when you see that kind of droopiness in the belly or in the legs or in the arms, you get discouraged. And that feeds into this body dysmorphia as well. This is a ruthless mind battle that I don't think enough people talk about, which is why we're talking about it here today on Jimmy Rants. The people most likely to experience this distorted body image are those who have depression or an obsessive compulsive disorder. They tend to zero in on all the imperfections and then perceive them as major flaws. So you know who you are. The good news is when you go keto, if you lost your weight with keto, keto helps with depression. I'm not sure what it does for obsessive compulsive. Knock, 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 penny. Knock, 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 penny. Big Bang Theory fans. One more. Knock, 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 penny. Uh, that you see every little flaw. And I think we don't value that either. That these people, that they're their own worst enemies and they don't even know it. It's pretty sad. The seeds of the problem are present before their weight loss. So this is a good lesson, you guys, that if you're in the midst of your ketogenic journey, you've lost a little weight and you've got a little ways to go ahead and start working on the mental aspect, because I think it's so devalued, and yet the after of keto warrants that you do something now to prevent some of those challenges that will come down the road. I wish I had known when I was on the Atkins diet in 2004, before I lost 180 pounds. And I did okay with handling it, but it did take me aback, some of the things. I wish I had known what was going to happen before it happened, because I think I would have been a little more prepared with how I responded. I didn't know how to respond to people that had never talked to me before. And then suddenly they talked to me. I didn't know how I was going to respond to all these people. Oh, you look good. Um, it was a weird time. So let this be the warning for you guys. If you're in the midst of a keto journey and you're not quite there yet, go ahead and prepare yourself mentally now that this is coming, because it does. And I've talked to many, a friend in this community, namely my friend Suzanne Ryan. You might know her from Keto Karma and her great videos here on YouTube. Suzanne still deals with this today. She is absolutely gorgeous, and in every way has made her body and her health so much better than it's ever been in her entire life. And even now, she probably in her head still feels on some days that she's fat. And that's a tough thing, you guys, especially when you lose the weight fast. When I lost my weight in 2004, I lost 180 pounds in 12 months. So it was like really super duper fast. It was 100 pounds in the first 100 days. So, I mean, it zippity doo-dah'd right off my body, which made it a whole lot more challenging. What was interesting is nobody even noticed that I had lost any weight until I got over 100 pounds lost. I'm sitting there at like 75 pounds lost going, hello, anybody notice? Hello? Because I could see it on the scale that I had lost weight, but apparently they couldn't see it. The amount of weight someone's lost does not seem to influence whether they develop this disorder. That's interesting. For example, he recalled this bariatric surgeon that there was a medical weight loss patient who had a BMI of 27 that indicated excess weight but not obesity. This patient felt obese and then obsessed over only losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's a problem. Body dysmorphia somewhat resembles an eating disorder, where women especially view themselves as too fat when they may be at a normal weight. Unlike anorexia or bulimia, body dysmorphia affects men and women equally. I'm glad they pointed that out. But eating disorders do not appear to be a risk factor. So I always wonder about that people get to the point mentally where they've lost weight doing keto, but then they start kind of seeing themselves as fat. Does that make them make extreme choices? Do they draconian cut their calories? Do they do things like extended fasting when they're not really ready for it? Do they do all kinds of things or even engage in some kind of an eating disorder because of the body dysmorphia? It would seem to be logical that some people would go down that path. So in this story, they show signs of body dysmorphia. Repetitive behaviors such as compulsive grooming or constantly checking the mirror. I could see that one. I would also say stepping on the scale would be a repetitive behavior. Obsessing about the scale. The next one, seeking frequent reassurance from other people about appearance. Are you sure? Are you sure this shirt fits okay on me? I don't think that it's too tight. Are you sure? Are you sure? That happens. Constant anxiety stemming from thoughts about their size and appearance. This is a particularly strong symptom of body dysmorphia. If an individual becomes concerned with thinking about weight, shape, and perceived flaws, it could detract from the ability to focus at work and school or engage in any normal daily activities. That sounds miserable, guys. But I do know, and a big part of this is the belly. So if you lost a lot of weight in the belly, and especially really, really fast weight in the belly, and there's this kind of droopy skin, people will obsess about that. In fact, most of the emails that I've gotten over the years from people is, well, if I lose weight eating low carb keto, am I going to have loose skin? Yeah, you might have loose skin if you lose over 50 pounds. Well, I don't think it's worth it to have that loose skin, because they're already thinking in their mind that they won't be able to psychologically handle having loose skin. And I'm thinking, which is worse, the fat on your body or the loose skin? And even at the lowest weight that I've gotten to, I still had loose skin. It's just a reality when you've gotten to a certain size and then you lose the weight. It's just the reality that you're going to have some of that. Now, there's things you can do to mitigate it. Fasting certainly helps, making sure you're getting plenty of healthy fats. But at the end of the day, if you've lost triple digit weight, you're going to have loose skin. It's just a reality. Jimmy Rant's reality check here. You're going to have loose skin. But how you respond to that, what do you look at it as? And what I've seen people doing, and I myself have done this strategy, what I've seen people doing is saying, you know what? Yes, I have loose skin. It's my badge of honor of just how far I've come. It's my reminder that I'm no longer that big person anymore. And I think acknowledging the loose skin and realizing it as a badge of honor is a part of this healing process from the body dysmorphia. It's the people that focus so obsessively about the loose skin that they're dealing with this issue the most. So, how do you get rid of this phantom fat? It's very difficult to bring self-perception and reality into alignment. Some people might need to deal with a relationship in which a person's weight played a key role, or with any past experiences of being bullied or shamed. Others may need to practice telling themselves different messages about their size. I am a huge, huge believer, you guys, in positive affirmations. So look yourself in the mirror. Just look right there and go, man, you're awesome. Man, you look good. Man, what a handsome chap you are. Or if you're a woman, what a beautiful girl you are. How many women tell themselves they're beautiful? I think most women are pretty beautiful. God didn't make no junk when he made women. And I think more women would probably avoid this body dysmorphia if they saw themselves as the beautiful people that they are. Okay? Working on viewing oneself as a whole person with varying parts, interests, and facets, as opposed to over-identifying with and or attaching so much importance on their physical self, could also be very helpful. And I love this one too. And as much as what I just said about women being beautiful, when I say beautiful, I'm not even thinking just aesthetic beauty. To me, any woman with a sense of humor has beauty from the sense of humor. And men too, but I'm not going to be judging the men. Um, you're going to have all of these qualities about you that make you you. And I think if you focus on all of those qualities and make that who and what you are, much more so than whatever your size is, you're going to be about a lot better off with this issue we're talking about here today. They say a therapist can also help. They added that antidepressant medications are a common treatment. You know, that's hit or miss to me. Because if you're eating healthy fats and you're eating a ketogenic diet, those medications may not be necessary per se. Some people, sure. So definitely talk with your health professional. Try to find a nutritional psychologist, because a lot of the nutritional psychologists tend to do things with the diet first, and then, if necessary, add the medications. If you're unhappy with your appearance, even after reaching a healthy weight, it's time to seek counseling, according to both of the doctors in this story. So the problem is, there are people who deal with this that don't think they've ever reached a healthy weight. And that's part of the body dysmorphia as well. So if you don't think you've reached a healthy weight, who defines what a healthy weight is? How do you know you've gotten there? So they might say, well, I still have 20 more pounds to lose, even though they're at totally healthy weight for their age and their height and all that. They still, in their minds, don't think they're at, quote, a healthy weight. And so what do you do there? How do you recognize that you're already at a healthy weight? It's a tough one. After all, being healthy should be about how well you can live your life. Life is so much more than a pound or two on the scale. Well, part of the issue with this as well is our culture has so obsessed about who and what you are is about what you weigh. Look at shows like The Biggest Loser. Look at all the images that they put in magazines. Look at all the Hollywood stars and the airbrushing that they do with a lot of the photos. And I'm so happy, so happy to see a lot of these models and other Hollywood stars coming out against this whole notion of this perfectionism um, with their bodies, and they're embracing the imperfections. And I think that movement's going to do a lot to do away with this whole body dysmorphia issue that we're talking about here today. So, guys, the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is you may have had an incredible keto weight loss and health success story. Don't devalue what you've accomplished because you don't see how much of a change has happened in your life. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. So bear with me just a second. I'm kind of new to this format with the YouTube. All right, so I'm going to scroll back. Shirley says, hi, Jimmy. I could get used to this. Well, get used to it because I'm not going anywhere. And if you join late, yes, I am on YouTube Live. We're going to start doing all of the Jimmy Rants episodes right here on YouTube Live. So definitely get in on the action. That's weird. They disappear when you don't touch the screen. That's funny. Reminder to everyone to enable the notification bell. Thank you, Alberto. Jacob says, and men too. For sure, Jacob. A lot of people do not think men struggle with this, but they do. Indeed, they do. Raven Soul, finally live, and I'm here. Welcome, welcome. Make sure you smash the line button, y'all. Says Paleo Barbie. What does the line button do? Everybody push the line button, whatever that is. Oh, like button. Okay. I was sitting there going, what is the line button? Even if you do not lose weight, body dysmorphia is certainly a serious struggle. Thank you, Jacob. That's true. But in the context of what I talk about quite a bit, people do obsess about it because of a weight loss. But you're right. Uh, those who have had some kind of disordered eating, binge eating, or even like an eating disorder, it hits them as well. Thank you for that. Shirley says, I felt this way after I lost all my baby weight, went all the way down to 122, and I still felt like I was 50 pounds heavier in my mind. Yep. It's so true. I look at myself and still struggle with seeing that fat girl, says Paleo Barbie. I try to look at old pictures so I can see how far I've come. I do that often too. I go back and look at old 20-something-year-old 410-pound Jimmy Moore. And he was a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, but he wasn't fully happy because he wasn't fully healthy. And thank God at the age of 32, I made the fateful decision to do something about my health. And now I'm benefiting from that greatly. All right, I've still got to get used to all the comments here. The way they come in is different than Instagram. Slightly Vegan says, I'm the opposite. I always think I look like my ideal weight. I'm shocked at old pictures of me where I'm really heavy because I never thought of myself that way. It's pretty eye-opening. JG says, I step on the scale once a day in the morning after I go pee when I'm at my lightest. Good. Keto Shadiha says, guilty of weighing off. And yeah, a lot of people do that. And I don't think in and of itself it's per se a bad thing, but it could lead to feelings of you're not quite doing good enough. Raven Soul, I'm a scale stepper as well, and I know better, but I need some sort of reassurance from something that I'm doing well or that I'm doing keto correctly. Sad but true. So Raven Soul, here is the thing that you can measure. Blood sugar. Blood sugar. Test your blood sugar, and that's a great way to know how you're doing. Another thing you can test, and it's subjective, how you feel. So if you feel good when you wake up in the morning, that's a great sign. That's a check for the day. Shirley says, my scale died right after I started keto, and I haven't gotten a new one. I feel great. I've lost inches. My clothes fit better. I don't need a freaking scale to make me feel good. I added the freaking Shirley for you for a little effect. Let's see. Definitely a real issue, says Lisa. I'm almost at 100 pounds lost. Congratulations, Lisa. Many days I don't see a change in the mirror. This is also why I've stopped extended fasting, because I accept my perception isn't reality. And Lisa, this is the funny part. When I originally lost the 180 pounds, I did a poster board, and each week I would weigh in and I would do like a little mark down, down, down so I could see it happening. That definitely helped. But in the day to day, when you're losing that much weight, you don't lose 180 pounds. You lose a quarter pound today, no pounds just tomorrow, another quarter pound the next day, maybe a half a pound the day after that, 2/3. So in the day to day, you're not seeing this great, gigantic weight loss. So you don't really feel like big progress is happening, but it is. I've been there for sure, went down to 110 pounds, still saw that fat girl, says Anita. Not this time. Good for you, Anita. I am 2 pounds heavier during the day compared to the morning after I pee, says JG. And that's normal. On a typical day, you can fluctuate in weight, 5 to 10 pounds pretty darn easily, moving water around after you've eaten. There's so many factors that can move body weight that it just makes no sense to step on the scale. Christina says, thank you for bringing attention to this issue. We got to remember we are not alone, and there are people out there who understand, and we can help each other. She adds that keto 1000% for my sanity. I'm glad, Christina, it's helping you out. The only issue with the way I look is my loose skin after losing 100 pounds. I have another 150 pounds to lose. Not going to be pretty. Well, JG, if you had 250 pounds to lose and you're already down 100, celebrate, brother. Just celebrate. Be happy that things are moving in a good direction, that you're going to be healthy for many years to come. And congratulations on your success. Let's see. I agree with getting healthy and weight loss. Counseling is also important. Thank you, Anita. I eat on average about 25 net carbs a day, says JG, along with 80 grams of protein. I find if I eat much more protein, I don't lose weight since excess protein is converted to glucose via gluconeogenesis. So I've been doing this keto carnivore. That's an interesting comment, JG. And I've noticed just eating meat and animal-based foods that I'm able to eat a higher amount of protein, not high protein. I'm still eating 75 to 80% of my diet as fat, but that increase of about 10% in my percentage of calories coming from protein with the elimination of carbohydrates, I have not seen a change in my blood sugar for the worse. I have not seen a diminished amount of blood ketones either. I felt stronger. It's pretty darn amazing. I think once you eliminate the carbohydrates from your diet completely, it gives you a little more wiggle room to add in a little more protein. Raven Soul, I think many expect weight loss to be a fix-all for everything in their life. If I can be a normal weight, then I will have the great relationships and all the things I've always wanted. And for some people, they do start to have good things happen in their life. But I think that's because they start to have a greater confidence in themselves because of the weight loss. This could go either way. You could have the body dysmorphia where you really don't see yourself in a good light, or you see yourself in such a good light that it makes you beam with more confidence and joy and spring in your step, and people notice, and it helps you go places. I literally found my voice, you guys, through my original low carb weight loss journey. I found my voice in 2004, so that when 2005 rolled around and I had the ability to start a blog, and then 1 year later start a podcast that's now the longest running health podcast on the internet, the Live and La Vida Low Carb Show, I found my voice. And it happened because of that experience of losing weight. So you can go one way or the other. Let's see. I've lost 165 pounds and have maintained for 6 months, says Steve, but I still feel more comfortable trying to lose than maintaining. When you've lost that much weight, Steve, he also says struggling with worrying about eating too optimally. So that's called orthorexia. When you feel like you have to eat grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, or something will harm you. It's a real and present danger. And again, not talked about enough, which is why I wanted to bring it up here today on Jimmy Rants. So, guys, the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is perhaps you've had a great keto or some other kind of weight loss success story. And perhaps you've had such a dramatic change that people are starting to notice and make comments. But then because of body dysmorphia, you don't see the good things that happen. It's one reason, you guys, when I'm on social media and I hear people expressing things about themselves that they don't look good and they don't have, they wish they could have lost more weight and blah, blah, blah. I try to encourage those people. And can you do that? Will you do that? Will you go out there here on YouTube, across social media, Instagram, Facebook, wherever? And if you see somebody talking kind of smack about themselves, oh, I've lost 75 pounds, but I just don't feel like I've done anything, go encourage them. Go encourage them, help them understand that this journey that they've been on has had a dramatic effect and that they will overcome all of those things that they're thinking about right now. I think we need more of that. More love, more compassion, more respect. And it starts with themselves. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And in case you joined us late, we are now doing this show on Instagram Live no more. It's on YouTube Live. So we start off on YouTube Live. We'll be doing these a couple times a day for the most part. So definitely go follow me. I'm Livin' Low Carb Man. So youtube.com/Livin' Low Carb Man. If you're watching this on a link you see on YouTube or a link you see elsewhere on Facebook, if you're finding this anywhere but on YouTube, go find my channel, subscribe, and make sure you turn on the notifications so that you will get the notifications whenever I go live. This is brand new to me, you guys. It's a little bit clunky because not used to turning the camera sideways. So JG, I see your question about stevia. On this show, I don't do general questions in the episode to episode. So definitely write me any questions that you have at jimmy@llvlc.com, and we'll try to answer your question. I do a podcast on Thursdays called Keto Talk that we answer a bunch of questions about keto. So definitely go listen, ketotalk.com. But write to me. I'll also be doing some open Q&A sessions here on YouTube as well. So stay tuned for that. But jimmyrants.com has the links to how you can access this show. And coming soon, we're going to try to put a link directly on jimmyrants.com that when I go live, you can watch it right there on the website. So that's pretty cool, right? So, guys, that's all I have for you for this Jimmy Rant.